To you out there, and welcome to another beautiful edition of SHADEZ Agrotainment Agriculture Today. It's Wave 91.7 FM Port Harcourt, your everything on PlayStation. Time check in our studio, 6 minutes past 11 o'clock. By 12 o'clock, don't forget, we will bring you current stories, and 12:30 a day is back to the studio to take you on entrepreneurship tips. You're a business person, that's one program you shouldn't miss. Well, for now, it's SHADEZ Agrotainment Agriculture Today, and my name's Big Daddy on radio. If you like, you can call me Dr. Rex Igiri, and nobody's going to take you to the court for anything. If anybody even tries it, you win. All right. Okay, so it's so good to have you, glued in here. Let's do this once again, because this is our specialty and this is what we love to do until the food systems of this country are clearly taken care of. Well, on today's edition, it's interesting to bring this to you as the Minister for Livestock Development. It's a new ministry, I'm sure you know that. It was established in 2024, if that is correct, 2024, and they had a budget establishing it and to run since 2024 till now. But the minister has come out, crying out loud for as far as financing gap is concerned. Now, he has stated clearly that there's a 3.4 trillion financing gap, where since 2024, where the ministry was created, the only money that was disbursed was 20 billion naira out of 70 to 75 billion that was budgeted. And in 2025 as a whole, there was no disbursement of any budgetary money. So bad. And you'll be wondering what exactly is going on in this country. I mean, this is one minister who has spoken out. If he did not say anything, we will just be assuming. We won't even know exactly what is going on, where the backwardness is coming from. And yet we keep talking about food security in this country. If your ministry is also not being properly financed, talk about it. Otherwise, tomorrow, you will be the one who will continue to blame. Let's know what challenges you have, so that we can talk to the leaders and help see how they can, appeal to their consciences to see if something can get better. So that's going to be a talking point this morning. Of course, with this type of, financing gap, there are impacts that will be created, perhaps negative impact. So we'll look at the implication of not financing the ministries properly. This morning I was listening to Wave 91.7 FM for Harcourt on the morning review, and you'll be shocked. The health sector is facing the same thing. So many ministries, it looks as if there's a crippling effect that is taking place in various ministries. What exactly, I would ask again, is going on with all the borrowings? Every now and then we are borrowing huge amounts of money. Well, like I said, this is our talking point. If we have time, I'm sure we would like to take a look at what the flood signals for this year 2026 is. The federal government also has stated clearly that 33 states will be affected, while the whole lot of communities as well. River State is inclusive. As much as River State is inclusive, I said 33 states out of all 36 plus the FCT, and so you have about 266 local government areas are or will be affected by flood. 14,108 communities across all of these local governments are bound to be affected. But the question is, how prepared are we to ensure that we don't have, such colossal waste that sometimes happens, especially where even humans are involved. I have with me right here in our studios with 91.7 FM for Harcourt very important personalities. Let me start by introducing to you and releasing his voice on the microphone. Professor David Nwisiato Sarogoro, who is of the Rivers State University Faculty of Agriculture, Department of Forestry and Environment, He is a senior lecturer. In fact, we are looking up to when his inaugural lecture will take place. Professor Saruguru, welcome to Wave 91.7.
Very soon, invite you.
I hope there will be enough rice.
Yeah,
because we can't be talking about food and all its value chains and inaugural lecture.
Yeah.
Plenty chopping. So.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much.
All right, good to have you here, Professor Saruguru. Okay, I have yet another important personality here. Today is actually supposed to be the complete team where all the elders are here. But unfortunately, some of them may have gone to see Tinubu, President Tinubu at Abuja. I don't know how many of us are going into politics. But anybody from SHADEZ Agrotainment team that wants to delve into politics, please don't come and begin to tell us stories. There has to be action, you know. All right, so I have Engineer Charles Okoro with us right here in the studio. He is a banker by profession and a agrofinance expert. Engineer Charles Okoro, welcome to SHADEZ Agrotainment. Okay, well, it's interesting to note that without farming, there is no nation. So no farmer, no nation. That's how important the farmer is. But yet the farmer seems to be relegated. And we will continue to talk until we have a system put in place where farmers are not being relegated because their significance or importance in our society is something that we cannot value. You know, so let's go straight to our talking point. First, the fact that the Minister for Livestock, Idi Mukhtar Maihe, has come out clearly and openly to cry out to Nigerians, stating the impact financing gap has caused on the ministry. Now, let me start with Engineer Charles Okoro. What does this portend, you know, for you who is a stakeholder in the agriculture sector, before I'll come to Professor Saruguru?
There are some ministers that will be there, not say the government. So it's a very good reason. And at the same time, it's also a clear indication that our National Assembly and even the presidency are not doing what they say. They put something in paper and it does not translate to the field. Because you cannot be having such budget and it's having such amount you quoted. It is an eyesore. Meaning that our National Assembly, they are not doing their oversight function. They are not asking questions. And at the same time, it's showing that the country we call Nigeria does not have true passion for agriculture. Because if they have true passion for agriculture, this large gap of 3.4 trillion wouldn't have existed. Nigeria is a signatory to Maputo Declaration, which said that 10% of the total budget should go into agriculture. And even by this figure means that the budget or provision for agriculture is less than 2% in their budget. So I give kudos to the minister. And then if we don't cover this gap, as I have said, agriculture continue to go to the drain, and insecurity will continue, food insecurity will continue, kidnapping, everything, unsafe environment, hunger will be all over.
Okay, maybe this is a far cry, but the minister has said clearly that there was a budget of 70 billion. In fact, that was in 2024 when this ministry was established. But that in 2025 there was no release of any budgetary amount all through 2025. So how do you expect the ministry to function? You know, and that's one. Despite the fact that the contribution of the Ministry of Livestock or the livestock sector to agricultural GDP is up to 1/3. And then total GDP is about 5 to 8%. So that means if the sector, the livestock sector is taken seriously, the tendency for the economy to boom, even from that axis or from that angle, is high. But Professor Sarugoro, in all of this, do you think we are moving forward or we are stagnant or even going backward? Should we be going back to Nigeria?
You have answered it now. Always backward, in spite of the ray of hope being championed by this minister in question. He's lucky that he has not been forced to resign, because when you are in government, particular government, and you seem to say the truth or speak truth to power, the consequences, they either force you to resign or gag your mouth. You can't talk. He's bold enough to tell us what his challenges are in that ministry. But be that as it may, even if he's been given, or this gap is being closed by this amount as revealed, will it make any impact? Because that is sector is just a subsector of the entire agricultural sector. I believe that what he is going through is being felt in all other agricultural subsectors. Which aspect of agriculture that is being given, let's say, a little attention? Is there any? No. And so even in spite of this cry we have heard, this hue and cry, nothing will be done. And if even nothing is done, at least it will not see the light of the day because of this crop competition that they are non-agriculturists. Then they eat food. So agriculture is in the dungeon. So for this particular government, nothing will come out. We made mention of this in one of the SHADEZ Agrotainment, that the Minister of Agriculture read out 21 policy statements, which this should be part, this animal stuff, that to curtail the headers, farmers crashes, there should be some hectares, ranches marked for grazing, for the landing headers. But have you seen any that has worked? It has not worked, and it will not work. Not until there is this paradigm shift from this office, budgetary, they close the figures. When the money is there, they use their bandwagon and take everything from agriculture, things split to the other sector or ends in pockets. The other day we mentioned the systemic corruption as one of the brains of agriculture being in the dungeon. So we continue to talk. They should continue to do what they are doing. But we believe in God that one day somebody that's of pro-agriculture will assume the presidency or the leadership of this country and will turn things around. And we shouldn't forget that in the 60s and 70s and even later part of 90s, agriculture sustained our economy. We earn foreign exchange from agriculture, and most of these assets, national assets, till today, were built by revenue from agriculture. It's so sad.
Okay, well, so sad, like you said, for a sector that is capable, I'm talking about the livestock sector now, that is capable of generating about $74 billion by 2035 has been projected. There's a bit of an abandonment of the sector now, but let's quickly take a look at this. 70 billion budgeted, 70 billion naira budgeted, 20 billion disbursed. Would you say the 20 billion is a far cry? Was there also an assessment of how the 20 billion was used? Because maybe the naira, you would say, does not have value as much as it used to, or you have received 20 billion. First off, what did you use the 20 billion for? Why are we not seeing proliferation of or expansion condition of the animal sector industry. What exactly is it that milk is becoming cheaper or something in the market space, or I can go to the market and buy red meat, beef, whatever it is, at a cheaper rate of. So has there been a